Can you believe it? My first ever WarioWare game on Switch. This is such a proud moment of mine that I'm going to learn everything about WarioWare. Starting with the name. No, seriously, what is the name? I just played the recently released demo for WarioWare Get It Together, which will be arriving on Switch in early September, and man, even though this was the demo, this was a fun game. WarioWare is one of the very few Nintendo IPs I have never played. Yes, I said it, and now because of which, I'm crying. It always looked enjoyable and fun from the gameplay videos of the first game and the most recent title on 3DS, but it's just not something that I got around to. It started on the GBA in 2003, and features a bunch of fast-paced microgames that only last mere seconds before moving on to more said microgames. Again, I have not played a single title in this series, but I have played a demo of Get It Together, and it's really fun. Despite me not actually playing any of the other titles, which I am bringing that up for no apparent reason, and I want to make a commitment to never bring up that fact ever again. I heard many good things about this series, and while I could have just gotten started with Gold on 3DS in 2018, I was just too caught up in the fact that the 3DS was still being supported at the time. But eventually, 3 years later, I eventually got my start to the series with Get It Together, the newest entry in the series. This one actually changes things up. Instead of just playing the microgames on the games themselves, you're actually playing as the game's main characters in the microgames, like Wario with a jetpack. That's concerning. 18-Volt, I think his name is, can't move unless you grab onto these hoops in the different microgames you're playing as him in, and Mona has a boomerang. Now, I will give the developers credit that the characters aren't only slightly different copies of each other, making for less of a reason to play as each one, but also the fact that they are not just simple copies of each other. And multiplayer. Finally, a Wario game where you can play microgames in multiplayer, unless I missed a previous entry that did. But multiplayer is a pretty cool addition, even if I never tried it yet. Listen, I only had a day to make this video, but at one point I will definitely try the multiplayer. And my hopes is that the multiplayer will offer stable connections with little to no lag, and also the fact that I'm greedy and want more microgames after release via free updates. 200 is definitely not a number worth laughing at, but after the last game had literally 300 games in it, I was kinda expecting just a bit more. And I also want fun modes to go on the side, like trivia where you're on a team with one other person and has to complete as many microgames as possible, as whichever team completed more microgames gets a point, and whoever gets a certain amount wins. Seriously, that has potential. Take it from your new fellow WarioWare fan. But I guess we'll just have to wait till Nintendo drops more info, or maybe even wait till the game's release date on September 10th. So not too long, but I still want to know more about the game, especially as a series newcomer. Wait a minute. Can you believe it? My first ever WarioWare game on Switch. WarioWare is one of the very few Nintendo IPs I have never played. I want to make a commitment to never bring up that fact ever again. So, some things are just very hard to commit to. But stay tuned around the game's release, as I may make another video about it. But maybe. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then please consider subscribing and checking out my other videos on my channel, where you'll find more videos like this one. And I'll see you next time.